メジャー翻訳速報。90年前、ベーブ・ルースが使用したバットを手にする大谷翔平選手の姿は、日本人メジャーリーガーの歴史と未来を象徴するものとなりました。今回は東京ドームの野球殿堂館で見つかった貴重な展示品と、大谷選手や日本人メジャーリーガーにまつわる興味深い映像をお届けします。この動画が面白いと思っていただけましたら、チャンネル登録と高評価よろしくお願いいたします。それではご覧ください。
Not always fantastic. Don't listen to them. You're unbelievable. And you are one with the people there. Good morning to you. I'm so curious what the scene is for our American players. Their game against Japan is soon. Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Konbanwa here in Japan. It's a little after 11 o'clock as we speak here. Lauren, I can't wait because less than 24 hours from now, for the first time in 611 days, we've got Team USA and Team Japan on the same baseball field. That's right. Move over, Shohei. Move over, Mike Trout. It's time for some new history between these two great baseball nations. And how about this pitching matchup? Rich Hill against Hiroto Takahashi. Now, I spoke with Rich. He's in good form. He's hitting 91 miles an hour, and he wants to pitch in 2025. But before that happens, it's going to be a World Series atmosphere. 55,000 fans, Lauren. 55,000 expected for this matchup. And it's the world #1 Japan, and they have not lost a game in 5 years. And the American team that's going to be there is young and exciting. And I watched them take BP. A lot of young talent we've been talking about for a long time. Matt Shaw. He is the biggest reason Team USA is here right now. The Cubs prospect, there's Matt Shaw in the batting cage yesterday. He's going to be a third baseman, I believe, at Wrigley Field sometime this year. Carson Williams plays beside him. Now, Carson Williams is the #4 ranked prospect in the entire industry. There he is. He's a Rays shortstop prospect. And a young man that I spoke with yesterday, Tamar Johnson, a graduate of MLB Develops. He's played for Team USA twice already. And Lauren, yesterday, I spoke with him. He's 20 years old, the youngest player on the roster. And I asked him about how he and this young team will handle this amazing environment against the best international team in the world.
It's great. I'm excited to be able to, bring it back for my country. I grew up USA, and I love my country so much. It's a lot that comes with it. So me being able to do that on the highest stage possible is definitely, a blessing. I'm thankful to God for it, definitely.
A proud native of the great state of Georgia, Lauren, and he had a great answer. I asked him, Tamar, how much are you excited about the way this tournament and playing before 55,000 sets the stage for your major league career? He said, I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried about winning a gold medal for my country. How about that?
Yeah,
what a great young man.
Impressive
Johnson,
young
remember
man.
that name.
I will. Yeah, promise me, by the way, you're not just watching baseball all day. No offense. You go to a bar? Do you go to a nightclub? I think I know the answer to that.
Nightclub? Nah. I mean, bar. Yes. Every now and then, Lauren. Every now and then.
I asked it.
Yeah, I'll have a beer when I'm feeling really exciting. But let me tell you about the coolest thing I saw yesterday. Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you about the coolest thing I saw yesterday.
Okay.
So, in the basement of the Tokyo Dome is the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame. And we talked about it before already, a lot of Ichiro excitement. But the coolest thing I saw was this. 90 years ago, Babe Ruth went to Japan. And that poster in the back is when Babe Ruth went to Japan. Man in the foreground, of course, is Shohei Ohtani holding the bat that Babe Ruth swung in Japan 90 years ago this month. And there's the placard. You see it there. Shohei Ohtani with the bat of Babe Ruth. So Shohei Ohtani standing in our footsteps in that Hall of Fame space. He was holding Babe Ruth's bat in front of the poster that advertised Babe Ruth's trip there 90 years ago. And beside that Shohei photo, Lauren, there was a picture of Mickey Mantle sliding into home plate during another MLB All-Star Tour of Japan, and Musial there as well. And part of that was the record. And they keep track of things here with history so beautifully. The record written in this beautiful Japanese script of every MLB All-Star team that ever came over here to play. And in the early part of the century, it was Babe Ruth and his MLB contemporaries against amateur university college teams. But as you look at it and time goes forward, you see more and more wins for Team Japan. Pretty special. Right now, obviously, Samurai Japan has not lost a game in 5 years.
JP, what a trip you're having. These are moments you're going to remember forever. Don't have too much fun. We need info from you, and all eyes are on the relief market as they are all and every offseason. We keep hearing a big name is going to be moved. What does that mean, and when?
So, Lauren, I think that as soon as we get some of the heavy lifting done, maybe in the next couple weeks about the free agent pieces, then we're going to hear a lot about the bullpen trade market. I'll give you a few names I've already heard being out there. Devin Williams, Ryan Helsley, and Kyle Finnegan of the Washington Nationals. And even the big name teams, you think about the Dodgers, Blake Trinan is a free agent. With the Yankees, Clay Holmes, a free agent. The Phillies had some very well-publicized bullpen issues late in the season. The San Diego Padres, Tanner Scott's a free agent. The Giants are involved in trade conversations on a number of fronts, including the bullpen. So these three names, Finnegan, Helsley, Williams, Lauren, I know it's a little early for winter meetings predictions, but I believe by the end of the calendar year, two of those three will have new teams.
You know, I remember back to our first show, Matt and Harold were talking about the relief market, and then Matt was talking about how Boston's going to be a centerpiece this offseason. Perhaps both could be true. Yes?
Yes, and Matt made a great point about how, of course, the Red Sox have been in there on Juan Soto. I know that Paston has reported about the Red Sox interest in pitching, including Blake Snell. But I'll give you the name of one player who we talked about this week on one of those Rookie of the Year boards as being a candidate, Wilyer Abreu. And it might surprise people to hear that he could be available, but here's why. Roman Anthony is the third-ranked prospect in the industry, one spot ahead of Carson Williams, who we talked about earlier on in this segment. Christian Campbell is 10th. Darren Duran is out there. Ceddanne Rafaela is out there in the outfield too. And so even though Wilyer Abreu just received votes in the Rookie of the Year conversation, a team like the Seattle Mariners, we talked about them earlier in the week, they need offense, guys that put the ball in play. Wilyer Abreu, for me, would be a great fit with the Mariners. I also mentioned the Giants in the context of bullpen fits too. So Wilyer Abreu, you might think, why would you ever trade someone coming off of a Rookie of the Year finish? Well, if they get Soto, they've already got Duran, they've got Rafaela, they've got Anthony, they've got Campbell coming. There is now a depth of outfielders, even if they don't get Soto, the Red Sox. So Wilyer Abreu, award conversation, could be on the move this winter as well.
Teach us a word in Japanese before you go. One. We have 15 seconds.
Hajime mashite is what you say when you meet someone for the first time. So I practice this, and Matt, sometime, Lauren, maybe on or off the air, Matt will tell you about the very beautiful job I did upon meeting the Japanese baseball commissioner. He's laughing right now because I studied for this for weeks and then completely screwed it up. And he saw the whole thing.
You're allowed. JP Morosi. Sayonara. Thank you for the history lesson.
That's one of my favorites. And so is this guy. Yes, that's right.
This is a high-end all-star
High-end all-star pitcher and one of our favorite guys to talk to. David Cone joins us on the stove, coming up right after a quick timeout. Live 6 Eastern here on MLB Network to learn who wins the Cy Young Awards in both leagues. We did so last block by talking to David Cone. 30-year anniversary of his Cy Young Award, and a guy through whom we learn more about pitching than most, and his content is extraordinary, and that's our friend Rob Fredman, the pitching ninja, joins us on Wednesday. Rob, good morning. Thanks for being on with us. Nice to see you.
My pleasure. Great seeing y'all.
Your awards are always so much fun, and you're always very generous in sharing some of your creativity with us. We were just talking off air. I kind of wish your awards were the official awards as handed out by Major League Baseball, but that's probably a discussion we'll have with someone at 6th Avenue or not. They'd probably shut us down. But we do love this stuff. So let's get right into it. Pitching Ninja Awards for 2024. The idea of the sword, Rob, I don't know if you were involved in inventing this. Before we hand out the award, explain it for those who are unfamiliar.
So the sword it's something that I started, and I actually helped define the official MLB stat. They like keep it on StatCast and stuff now, but it's basically a terrible swing, not a complete swing. Kind of makes you look kind of silly.
We love the sword. I mean, it's fun, it's funny. I don't think guys guilty of sorting love it as much as we do. But let's start right there. Hand out the sword of the year for 2024.
Oh, the sword of the year goes to Jared Jones, and I knew it as soon as I saw it. This one is impossible to top. I mean, what do you do here? Poor Bryce Terang. That's horrible.
And Bryce is a super talented it's going to be tough to ever top that moving forward.
Absolutely. His soul left his body. I mean, what do you do as a hitter? You just got to walk back with your head down.
His soul left his body.
That's pretty good.
A few souls leave bodies when this next award winner is on the mound, and I'll leave it to you to announce the most ridiculous wind-up award winner this year.
The most ridiculous wind-up award winner? I mean, he's almost perennial winner, right? Nestor Cortez with the pump fake. This can't be legal. You can't do that.
That's not
right?
legal, right? There's
No,
no
you
way.
can't do that.
How'd they let that happen?
He got warned after this and said it wasn't legal, but like, come on.
That's a pitch. That's a
Yeah.
ball.
It shouldn't be allowed. You can't do that.
No, it's not a legal pitch.
But it was fun.
Right.
I mean,
That's
it was,
really
in
fun.
fact, Nestor's calling now.
I thought I was I saw something wrong when I saw that in the bump. I didn't see that this summer.
You saw it, you forgot about it.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Because he does that a lot. I mean, you could do a whole half hour on Nestor stuff, Rob.
You can, but he's never done the pump fake before, and he never will do it again because he apparently will get tossed out of a game if he does do that
I
again.
almost hope it gets to
Oh,
that.
no, you get tossed out of the game.
Let's move on because, you know, in this day and age of faster, stronger, higher, lower, you have identified a lowest pitch of the year award winner.
Yeah, poor Davis Daniel. He got crossed up here, lost his footing, bounced this thing, and I love Nate Lowe here though.
He's getting ready to hit it.
I
Look
mean,
at this.
Vladimir Guerrero would have hit that.
If the catcher didn't move up, I think he would have swung. He was ready to do that.
That was an accident waiting to happen.
From the lowest pitch of the year to the longest pitch of the year, we talking about delivery time or length of pitch traveled?
We are talking about length of pitch traveled, and you can only do it in this situation, which is where you throw a pitch and it goes through the backstop. Look at that.
I don't remember seeing this one.
Gosh.
It's way up the tunnel over there.
Can you imagine sitting behind there and that ball comes through?
Yeah, I know you see fans duck all the time, and this would be a situation where you might want to. Just broke it.
It broke the net.
Gee whiz.
I don't remember seeing that one at all. See, this is great because you mine for this stuff, and even if we remembered it, we might not remember it, or in this case, didn't see it at all.
It's a lot of games.
That's it. I watch too much baseball.
I know there were a lot of candidates for this next award, Rob, the most expressive pitcher, because we have some real characters in the sport right now. Who's the winner?
That would be Shota Imanaga, and I loved watching him throw all year, not because of his nasty stuff necessarily, which he does have nasty stuff, but check out these expressions on his face. Like, dude is an absolute character on and off the field and a good pitcher.
He's got a little Mike Fetters in him, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I like it.
The
I like
bow
that.
there.
That's the personality.
Great. I mean,
Mike Imanaga.
it's almost like you want to caption every one of his expressions somehow. Maybe that's an exercise for tomorrow's program.
Well, you saw him singing "Go Cubs Go" last week with Roy Wood Jr. at the MLB Awards.
right. It's fantastic.
He's got that personality.
Let's get to the mind-bending pitch of the year award. And this one, I have no idea where you're going.
This is by Ettore Giulianelli, a minor leaguer. And I don't, you barely can explain this. It
Holy
looks like
smoke.
a glitch. Right.
It does.
So this is a curveball that moves like a screwball. I think StatCast has it as a screwball now, but he throws it like a curveball and he releases it. If you watch its release, it's way over the top. It's on the wrong side. So his curveball moves the wrong way.
Can we see that again?
So he actually does this on purpose. After seeing the first one, I thought it was accidental.
No.
But this is a planned pitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right in that it does look like a screwball. And Rob, had it not been for that shot, the hitter's reaction, I would have thought that it was a glitch or a video trick. That's unbelievable.
It's nuts. And like, you have to be just a total weird release in order to get that movement. First time I saw it, I thought it was a glitch. It's crazy.
Finally, we get to some of the low-level stuff here. The worst performance by a bat dog. I didn't know there was such a thing.
There's no such thing as a worse performance by a bat dog. They're all good dogs. But yeah, this one maybe went a little wild here. Poor thing. First day as a bat dog. This is a mess, literally.
He just wanted to play.
Yeah, she actually poops on the field here.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, there it is.
Wow.
Wait for it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Again, didn't see this during the season. Man, we went double squat, too. You know what? I'd give that worst performance by a bat dog handler. You got to make sure the dog has relieved itself prior to duty.
I mean, come on.
No pun intended.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Oh, boy. Rob, good stuff. Hey, do you have thoughts on the Cy Young Award tonight? I know that Tarek Skubal is going to be darn near unanimous, I think, because, by the way, that's been the trend among American League recipients the last few years. What about in the National League? Do you have thoughts in the Wheeler versus Sale conversation?
Yeah, I think Sale's going to win it pretty handily. To me, he was just brilliant the entire year. Wheeler was too, but I don't know. Sale's dominance was just next level, and I think he's going to end up winning it.
Good stuff, Rob. We appreciate the visit. We appreciate the video, all the work you do. And by the way, Rob's got some new content coming out with MLB right after the Cy Young announcement tonight, so we appreciate that as well. Pitching Ninja Rob Friedman, happy Thanksgiving to you in a couple of weeks, bud. Thanks for being on.
Same to y'all. Thank you.
We're going to take a break. More on tonight's big Cy Young announcement show, 6 p.m. Eastern on MLB Network. Harold and I, Keith, we all have thoughts, and we'll give you some additional layers of information next on Hot Stove.
Phillips halfway through the week. Any day we get news in the offseason, Steve, is a good one. Jose Siri to the Mets. We know about it. Matt and Harold, we're talking about the defense early on. What will his role be in Flushing, Queens this year?
So Harrison Bader, free agent right now, and he was that sort of defensive specialist in center field. Tyrone Taylor had abdominal surgery with hernia surgery as well as elbow surgery. So, you know, he's a guy that he's first-time arbitration eligible. You know, he has the power that guys who hit 30 home runs have. He has the speed that guys who steal 30 bases have. But there's power, you know, weightlifters and sprinters aren't baseball players, right? So he's got to somehow transfer his tools into skills to play the game. Now, he is a great celebrator. Like, he is one of the best celebrators I've ever seen. He is a showman, and New York fans will love him. Now, you know, he's got to make sure he doesn't get teammates hurt with the over-celebration. But, you know, look, he's a piece of clay, and he's 29, and he's getting up there a little bit. But if you can somehow fix his swing to get more contact, to find a way to put it in play, you can't steal first base. But, boy, if he can just touch the baseball, he's got power. If he can just get on base, he can run. So we'll see. But he's a great defender. He'll play a lot of games coming in late defending. We'll see. But for the price point, it works for the Mets.
And 3 years of team control left as well. Steve, of the players to receive the qualifying offer, and you and I haven't talked about this since this happened, only one accepted, Nick Martinez. Your thoughts on that? Did that surprise you at all?
So I wasn't surprised on Martinez at 34. I wasn't sure he was going to get a 3-year deal. I kind of look at that as the threshold, you know, for a player. If someone's, because I'm not going to give up draft picks if I'm going to sign you to a 2-year deal. So if I'm going to sign you to a 3-year deal, would I be willing to give up a draft pick to do it? Probably. And so the one guy I looked at with Nick Pivetta, where I look at him and think, you know, I like him as a pitcher, but he's a 5-inning guy. Am I going to sign him to a 3-year contract out there, knowing that I'm going to really make a bullpen day behind him? I thought he might end up taking the qualifying offer. I was a little bit surprised by that. And I think for the Red Sox, they thought, well, for 1 year, we'll pay him a little more maybe than what a 5-inning pitcher is worth, but we'll have him locked up, and we don't mind not having a long-term contract. Now that he's given it up, they're in on Snell, they're in on Fried, and they may be in on both of them now that they don't have to pay Pivetta which wouldn't be a bad thing. They didn't have a left-handed starter. They didn't have an ace. And so I think it somewhat opens the door. I think the Red Sox are such a creative and unique team this offseason. They can trade. They've got money to go get free agents. They're in on Soto. They're in on starters. They can get in on Crochet. They can make trades. They've got major league players to trade. They got prospects to trade. They're an intriguing team. And now more financial flexibility because Pivetta did not take the qualifying offer.
Pair of Knicks, I'm listening to you, Steven, and I'm reading this. Nick Martinez, only the 14th player to take it since 2012. Fascinating stuff. What's the latest on Juan Soto? Steve, I know I ask you this every day. We will continue to do that. I love that we have his itinerary. Phillies apparently next on the schedule. What does a Phillies team look like with Juan Soto, and how realistic is this?
So I think it's intriguing, right? I think for the Phillies, one of the things we saw in the second half of the season, they swing and miss too much. They did strike out too much, and that hurt them at times where rallies came to a stop. And so the question is, their interest in Soto makes sense. Dave Dombrowski likes stars, right? I mean, think about it. We think about Harper and Wheeler and Nola and Schwarber and Realmuto and Turner. They like stars there. He'd be a great fit in that lineup. You think about having Schwarber, Harper, and Soto, the left-handed bats in that lineup, would be fantastic. Now, I don't know they can just add that salary to their roster. They got 2 more years of Nick Castellanos at $20 million a year. They got another year of Kyle Schwarber at about $20 million a year. They've got another year of Realmuto at about $23.875 million a year. But in left field, they've got Brandon Marsh and Austin Hayes, totaling about $10 million in arbitration values next year. Maybe they can afford, if they just replace Soto in left for Marsh and Hayes and go with a rookie, an inexpensive player there. Castellanos, I don't know that it's a movable contract for 2 years at $20 million a year, but I could dream of Soto in that lineup. And if they can find some ways to move some money to make it financially make sense for them, I love this for the Philadelphia Phillies. And I feel like Soto's more of an East Coast guy than a West Coast guy. And I think if the Phillies could get in and somehow match what the Mets and Yankees are doing, this could be such an intriguing acquisition in Philadelphia.
Dave Dombrowski can dream it as well. A push to win now in Philadelphia. A lot of talk about the best in our game lately. That is because the Hall of Fame ballot came out. Ichiro, last chance for Billy Wagner. What stands out when you look at this list, Steve?
Well, I certainly hope Billy Wagner gets in. 5 votes away last year. He's certainly worthy of getting in. I hope Ichiro is unanimous. I can't imagine somebody wouldn't vote for him. But I'm really hoping that 3 outfielders get their due. Carlos Beltran, for me, is a Hall of Famer. You talk about the power for 435 home runs, the stolen base numbers, the success rate stealing bases as a switch hitter, one of the best in the game. Andrew Jones was my nemesis when I was the Mets general manager. He owned us. He killed us. 434 home runs for him, the best defensive center fielder ever. And then Bobby Abreu, for me, is a Hall of Famer. I don't think people look at the numbers the way they should for him. Do you know that he got on base more in his career in 18 years than Tony Gwynn did in 20 years? Tony Gwynn did it by getting base hits. Bobby Abreu hit 291 in his career, but got more walks. He also stole bases. He also hit home runs. He had 400 stolen bases in his career. Bobby Abreu was a Hall of Famer. And I don't think people really break the numbers down. I want them to do a deeper dig on that. He is a Hall of Famer. The numbers are there.
I love this time of year and these conversations. There will be plenty of them coming up. Results revealed January 21st, and we will have it right here on MLB Network, of course. Steve Phillips with the latest. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. Maddie.
Thanks.
All right, Lauren, thanks. I know that yesterday when we went over the first-year eligibles on this year's BBWAA Hall of Fame ballot, we hit Dustin Pedroia pretty hard, but there were other names, and we're going to go through each of these guys at some point between now and January. Harold, where do you want to dig in on the other guys outside of Petey?
Well, Granderson's interesting. You know, if you look back at Curtis's career, you know, starting in Detroit, that's an interesting one for me. I look at Felix Hernandez. Felix is really the first guy where the sabermetric community gave him a Cy Young. What was he, 11 and 13?
13 and 12,
13 and 12,
yeah.
something like that. And it was the first time it was like, oh, wins don't matter? And all of a sudden, so I think he changed how we're looking at the ballots now.
True.
Because of King Felix. He had some amazing times. I don't know if we have anybody that has the cumulative numbers that just hit the board, like that blow people away with the numbers. But I do think they all have a story that's unique. I talked about Pedroia the other day. That's just some of the guys. I'm still stuck on Bobby Abreu. I mean, we got to continue to look at when did you play, what was called upon your role. Bobby Abreu walked a lot, but you want him to swing the bat in the role they had him in.
Yeah.
So that works for today's game, but that didn't work when he was playing. So I think we got to look at when did a guy play. Tony Gwynn was not asked to walk. He was asked to get hits.
Tony Gwynn also hit. He was a career with like 340 hitter.
I know.
Almost.
I mean, you can't even make that kind of comparison.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about this is, like, if you say something bad about a player, it's like you don't like the guy. But when you're talking about Hall of Fame, let's be factual. Hall of Fame is Hall of Fame. If it's not, it's not. And that's how I'm seeing that.
So this is and this is where your soundboard bite came from when you said, I hate this time of year. Of course, we play it all times of year. But you were talking about this specific discussion because you sound like you're a hater when you don't necessarily back a guy for the Hall of Fame. And I think that's what you're saying here. Yeah. All right, let's take a break. We have more to get to. Terry Francona is going to join us coming up. His new gig, skippering the Cincinnati Reds. And his thoughts on one of his former pupils taking over and winning Manager of the Year. Tito, a multiple Manager of the Year recipient, joins us next on The Stove. Bear with me on this. When JP was on the show earlier, he was talking about the bat that Babe Ruth used when he went to Barnstorm in Japan, and the photo of Shohei Ohtani holding that bat. Babe Ruth in Japan. And it got me to thinking about one of the first guests we had on Hot Stove, an author who had written a book called Babe Ruth Goes to Japan. And as we interviewed the author,
creative name,
Harold came up with an intriguing question.
I'll tell you what, that's pretty impressive. A couple questions, Robert. How did you come up with the title?
Well,
you soundboard that. You soundboard.
The name of the book. The name of the book.
Is that the origin of the soundboard?
Yeah. The name of the book was Babe Ruth Goes to Japan. And you hit him with this.
How did you come up with the title?
Gosh, that's so long ago.
He was in his phone.
You guys look cuter now, though.
Did I really?
Thank God.
メジャー翻訳速報。ベーブ・ルースの使用したバットを大谷翔平選手が手にする姿が印象的でしたね。90年前の野球の歴史と現代が一つのバットでつながる瞬間に感動を覚えました。また日米野球の歴史を振り返ると、かつては日本のアマチュアチームが相手だったものが、今では侍ジャパンが世界ランク1位という快挙を成し遂げています。野球を通じた日米の絆の深まりを感じる貴重な映像でした。皆様のご感想やお気持ちなどコメント欄でぜひお聞かせください。ご視聴ありがとうございました。